So welcome in this room for doctoral training experiences of LAC institutions. Until last year, one of the Marie Sklodowska-Curie actions was called Innovative Training Network, ITN. The call is annual and it's open to institutions from all over the world, academic or not, public or private, that want to join forces and work together to offer an innovative doctoral training. As from 2021, we heard from Boriana that ITNs are now renamed doctoral networks, but they remain almost the same, right? So we invited two researchers from Latin American institutions participating in already EU-funded ITNs to share their experiences to better understand what's in the call for you, Latin American institutions. Each one will present in 5 minutes and then they will answer your questions. You can send your questions in the chat now and I will read them for you. I would like to invite Vasco to start. Vasco Kramer is the head of research and development as Positron Pharma SA in Chile. His company is one of the partners of an ITN called PET Alpha Psi, but he will tell you everything about that. Vasco, the floor is yours.
Perfect. So I will share my screen with you. I hope you can see everything.
Yes, we can.
Well, thanks, Charlotte, for the kind introduction and also for the possibility to present you a little bit our experience in participating in this innovative training network. So, as you mentioned, we are a private mid-size company in the biotech space, and as such, we are heavily involved in research and development. And our role in this ITN program is the role of a private institution, and we will receive two postdoctoral or PhD fellows here at our institution for around about 3 to 6 months in the framework of this program. So we collaborate since a while with the group of Matthias Herd at the University of Copenhagen, who is the PI on this project and who took the initiative to present this ITN project, which he actually did 3 times. And our consortium identified 2 important needs of our global society. First of all, we have to train PhDs or well-educated PhDs in the space of radiopharmacy and nuclear medicine. And the other need is the need for a specific alpha-synuclein PET tracer to diagnose Parkinson's disease. So just to explain you a little bit what radiopharmacy and nuclear medicine is, we deal with the development, production and distribution of radioactive pharmaceuticals or drugs, which can be used to diagnose different diseases or to treat certain oncological diseases or cancers. So here you can see, for example, a radioactive drug, which is injected into the patient, and then it would bind to a specific biomarker or target, which then we can see and quantify using this PET camera. Then it's important to mention that alpha-synuclein is the underlying pathology in Parkinson's disease, which causes brain damage and neuronal loss. And then in the end, the symptoms we know from Parkinson's disease. And the objective of our ETN program is to develop a radioactive tracer, which allows us to identify and see the pathology in Parkinson's disease. So in this objective are working 15 PhD students from 6 universities in 7 different countries and with the participation of 10 private institutions, as you can see here. As I mentioned, we are only a partner in this project, and the PI, Professor Herd, proposed the project to the European Union. I talked with him many times about the process of the proposal, and I think the most relevant point is that when you think about proposing an ITN project to the European Union, you should find a very good balance between a training objective, so the educational part, and a scientific goal. And this has to address a certain need of our society. So those are maybe the two most important points. Of course, you have to have a very good CV and experience and all this kind of stuff. Maybe it's also worth to mention that the consortium we created was based on a previous collaboration of several universities and private institutions, which then we extended, including other universities and some industry partners, to really get all of the capabilities into our group, which is needed for the execution of this project. For us as a private participant in the ITA, we have many benefits from that. So first of all, we need professionals which are well trained, and especially in our countries in Latin America, sometimes there is not a local education in these subjects. So via this program, we can access those professionals as potential workers here at our institution. We can also access infrastructure and laboratory within the European Union, which is not available in Chile for our research. And of course, we can extend our professional network, our contacts, and get new ideas and inspirations, which is extremely important for a small company in the biotech space. And so that's basically the experience we had. Here you can see a photo of our kick-off meeting, which we did in Spain in 2019. And after that, we had several follow-up meetings about the progress, where all of the students would present their progress, their results, and where we discuss and analyze those together, and then took decisions how to proceed in the global perspective of this project. So with this, I'd like to thank you and the European Union again for the support in this project. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Vasco. You'll have time to elaborate a little bit further in the questions. Now I would like to pass the floor to Gaston Ares, who is Associate Professor in Sensometrics and Consumer Science at Universidad de la República in Uruguay. Gaston coordinates his Uruguayan institution's participation in the innovative training network EDULIA, and he will tell you more in a minute. Maybe, Vasco, you have to stop sharing your screen. Oh, no, it's already, okay, it's already Gaston. Yeah. So Gaston, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Charlotte, for the introduction and for the invitation to share our experience. I am part of the project that is called EDULIA, that deals with a very relevant topic worldwide, that it's childhood obesity. So the main objective of the project is to better understand how multiple factors act as barriers to children's healthy eating, and to develop new strategies to tackle those barriers. So one of the key difference or innovations of the project is that we are not trying to use like the more traditional approaches like education or nutrition education or that type of thing. So we're trying to identify other ways to make the healthy choice like the default choice among children. So the project is interdisciplinary. So we use different methodological approaches and different methodologies to approach the topic of children healthy eating, including social marketing, product development, sensory perception, social influences. And the project also has a big focus on methods, so methodological approaches to study children eating habits. So the project is composed of 7 beneficiaries. There are 6 universities or research institutes in Europe and Universidad de la República in Uruguay. So we are the only beneficiary from outside Europe. And the project, as Vasco was explaining, has partners that in this case are universities, other research institutes, food companies, and also policymakers. So it involves the Norwegian Institute of Public Health, for example, or in Uruguay, the Ministry of Social Development. So the idea is to have this broad overview of the topic and to engage with different key stakeholders to make the results of the project useful. And so the project is organized in work packages. So we have like this big work package related to the coordination and management of the project, and then another broad work package related to communication and dissemination, and another one that was added after the approval that is related to open data. And then we have the more scientific work packages, and we have the early career researchers related to each of these packages. So the project involves 11 early career researchers that develop their PhD in the different universities of the project. So in Uruguay, we have one brilliant lady, so it's Ana, that is from Mexico, she's doing her PhD here. And it's been a very interesting experience because these early career researchers come from all over the world, and they are doing their PhD in the different institutions. So that's a key advantage of the project, to get in touch with people from different parts and to get the participation of these, in our case, these 11 young researchers that are really wonderful. So as Vasco also was explaining, one of the key characteristics of the project is related to the training. So in our case, the training involves the more traditional approaches, like training by research, so the thesis basically, and then lecture-based training, that it's basically the courses or the training school that is organized by the consortium every year. And then there is training by market or societal interaction that involves the partners. So in general, all the early career researchers have a secondment in, for example, a company, and then a policymaker, or they get in touch with different stakeholders to get this idea of how to solve problems from different approaches. So a policy-focused problem solving, or a market-focused problem solving, or an industry-focused. And then they have this training by knowledge exchange involving, again, the different training schools and their interaction between the different institutions and between the different early career researchers. So this is a picture of our last training school and an annual meeting. And this case, of course, because of the pandemic, was held online. And one of the things that's interesting to highlight is that during the proposal was presented 3 times. So the third time was approved as the previous experience. So it seems that it's an unusual number. And then one of the things is that we were in touch, and we were collaborating with the leader of the project, that is Paula Varela, that is held in Norway, in Nofima. And so she invited us to be part of this network and to contribute from the beginning. So we were part of the conception of the idea and the project. And then the other partners also were in touch with us. So we were all collaborating in different areas. So it's a consortium that's composed of different research groups that have experience working together. So we have all these different connections that, of course, during the project, those connections and those interactions get stronger. And of course, you get enriched by all their experience, and you get new ideas and inspirations for other projects and so on. So that's basically our experience from this specific project. There you have the website of the project if you want to find additional information, and my email.
Thank you very much to our two speakers, Vasco and Gaston. I think it's really enlightening to hear from you, because something is the theory and something is the practice, and it's really useful to learn from our peers. So while you are writing your first questions, I would like to ask you something, Gaston. If I read the description of Edulia, I see Edulia responds to the urgent need of the EU society to find new ways to tackle the scaling of obesity, etc., etc. And how do an institution based in Latin America lead with this topic being EU-centered? How do you enter, how do you benefit, even if you are not in the EU?
I mean, childhood obesity is a problem worldwide, so it's very important to know that it's not a problem exclusive from the EU. So everything that can be done here can be applied to Europe. The other thing is that the problems that we are facing here related to childhood diet and unhealthy diets are very similar to those experienced in Europe. In the specific case of Chile or Uruguay, we are among the countries with the highest prevalence of childhood obesity. So in many cases, we have rates of obesity that are higher to those that are found in European countries. So of course that we get benefited by all the research that is performed by Edulia, but also the other way around. I mean, the research that is led here related to, the work package that is led by the university in Uruguay is related to sugar reduction. So how to reduce sugar content in industrialized products. That's the main source of sugar in children's diet. That is one of the key problems leading to the rates of obesity that we have. So of course that the research that is developed and how to generate guidelines and recommendations for the industry to reduce sugar are applicable for any country. And that's how we managed to get in. And also everything that has to relation with methodology. So we work a lot with methodological aspects, and those are again key insights. And the other thing that we did was we hosted one secondment for another researcher, so she compared results here from those in European countries to know if the reality is different. And in fact, she found very similar results. And then she's continuing with working with different with the studies that involve different countries outside Europe, just to know that their results are equally applicable.
Thank you. Vasco, you said that you are receiving short-term fellows, right? No long-term PhD doctor, but what about the spendings associated to their stay in your institution? Can you give us an idea of how does it work? Who pay their grant or their contract? Who pay for your work?
Yeah, so the students get a salary from their institutions, and also the travel expenses and accommodation they would have when doing their secondment here are funded from by the European Union within this project. And then we as a partner cover all of the expenses which are needed for the project itself. So let's say laboratory equipment, reagents, and everything what they need here on site is covered by our institution. Yeah. I think I don't know exactly. I guess we could also have been a beneficiary within the project, but I think that was not really reasonable for our institution, since we don't have capacity to receive long-term students over 3 or 4 years or something. So, yeah.
When you say beneficiary, you mean receiving a full-time PhD student, right? But yeah. You are also receiving some stipend from the European Commission, right, to host those short-term researchers?
To be honest, I'm not 100% sure, but if so, I think yeah, we would receive money to cover the expenses related to the stay here.
Okay, Gaston, do you want to contribute?
Yeah.
This is an important topic, funding, right?
Yeah, in fact, the funding, as it was explained, involves all the expense. So the salary of the early career researchers and the mobility allowance and the family allowance in case that it corresponds. And then the beneficiary, so the beneficiaries receive money for research and administrative staff. So in that case, and again, it depends on the number of months. It's a good number. It's not something that you say it's not useful at all. It actually, in our case, covers all the costs related to the research. So it's and also all the mobilities of the researchers. For example, for us to go to Europe or to the meetings and so on. And again, all for the early career researchers is really interesting because they are paid for everything. So if they go to our conference, so that they get paid like the travel expenses, the registration. So it's a really nice opportunity for them. And it's also a nice opportunity for Latin American students to apply for these type of projects, because it's an amazing opportunity to get involved in such projects. And in our case, we didn't get that many applications from Latin America. So it's something that should be considered. And again, in the case that when you have partners, the beneficiaries can pay the expenses of the partners related to the research or to the secondment of the early career researchers.
Vasco, did you want to add something? No?
No, I think that covers it basically. I think that would have been also for our institution an interesting possibility to have a personnel from our side or students working with us to participate in the program and do their PhD abroad. So we haven't had this possibility and such a student in this case, but this would definitely be a nice thing to think about for future applications.
For the next one.
For the next one, yeah. But yeah. By the way, we also applied 3 times, so
this is something I noted in your presentation. Yeah, you shouldn't be afraid of trying, and this also goes in the direction of Pablo's question. Was asking how was the process for establishing the institution network before application? I mean, how do you start if you are interested in participating as an institution?
In our case, we were invited to join. So the coordinator of the project was setting the network. So she said, would you be interested in joining this proposal? So we were involved from the beginning and we were invited to be part. So it was quite simple in that sense. So, and then we were part of all the discussions and the decisions to, for example, resubmit and modify the proposal and so on. So we were part of this network from the beginning. Vasco.
You knew them already and you knew the MSCA program?
No, I was not aware. I did not know anything about the program, but I knew, of course, the leader of the project. So she's from Uruguay. So we have a close collaboration with Paula. And then I have worked with other partners of the project. So I guess that from the different institutions, I had that we had some type of collaboration with 4 of the beneficiaries of the project. So we were quite familiar with them. And we haven't been in the same project, all of us, but we have different collaborations. So
it was your case also, Vasco, right? You knew the coordinator,
yes.
And he invited you.
Yeah, he's a friend and a co-PhD student. So we did our PhD together, maintained a close collaboration over 10 years, and then he took the initiative to apply to this program and invited us to that. But I think then once the core members were defined, the consortium also started to look for other institutions, and then I think it was more the initiative of the the core members to invite other entities, although they didn't know them, but to look, okay, who's working in this specific subject, what do we need in our network, what is missing, and then just approaching the institutions. And I understand that also in the platform or access, you have the possibility to look for those institutions. So, okay, now maybe we want to work in certain biomarkers in obesity, for example, and we can look, okay, what members and institutions are working on that topic and invite them, right?
Exactly, and also you can be proactive. You know, you can, now that you know the program, I mean the audience, you can tell your partners in Europe, hey, I know about the ITNs, why not submitting, why not building a network together? We want to be part of it. And of course, your access is also a nice tool for you to find partners. Marka was asking a question, and she's leaving now, or is leaving, sorry, I don't know. But we'll listen to the recording to get the answer. So the question was, are those networks temporary, or what happens when the program is over? Do you still collaborate with those, the other beneficiaries and partners?
Vasco, do you want to go first this time?
Hopefully. So, of course, like we started in this program with an existing collaboration, and we will definitely continue to collaborate in the future after this program ends. But I think that we had the possibility to get involved and in touch with new companies, institutions working on this subject. And this will continue in the future, I guess. So now we found a objective and a subject we all work on, and we can assist each other in the future beyond this ITN, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, I fully agree in that respect. I think that what's temporary is the contract of the early career researchers, because they are completing their PhD, so they have these 3 years. That's something that again is important to know. In our case in Uruguay, the PhDs are usually 4 years. So in this case, Ana has to do everything quite quick to get this 3 years contract and to finish the PhD on time. And then, of course, that the idea of belonging to this network is that you strengthen the collaboration, and you get to know the other institutions more, and you need other possibilities for collaborations, of course, that come out and emerge from the project. So it's a long time, it's 4 years, and you develop a lot of opportunities to keep collaborating. And another thing that was there asking, that Maka was asking, was that this idea of the building local capacities. I think that the ITN itself is, the objective is not to build capacities in Latin America, but I think that by joining and to belonging to these networks, you get knowledge, and you strengthen your capacities to rethink some programs, and you get other ideas. And I think that just being part of these networks improves our capacity to improve the programs and to get ideas, and to all these ideas of how to train not only by lectures or by thesis, and to include other more problem solving focused is really important, and to get those capacities in Latin America from the experience that you get from being part of these projects is very important.
And it's not rare that you start working with your neighbors, with other Latin American. I think it's not the case in either of your ITNs, but it's not rare that ITNs have several participants from the same region, and then you start creating new local networks also. And those collaboration can be continued in Horizon Europe project, for example, or any other type of project on the similar topic. I just would like to answer Ildiko that the program is open to social science research also, and no problem in working with Chinese partners. as soon as you respect the number of European partners in the consortia. And I would like to give the floor to Boriana, because we have the chance to have Boriana in our room. And she was telling me 2 days ago that that it's really a European Commission interest to increase participation of LAC institution in this action. So Boriana, if you can, I think you can open your mic and talk.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes. It was a very interesting discussion, indeed, very interesting for me also to listen first-hand experience with our actions. Thank you very much for sharing with all of us your experience. And indeed, I quickly checked the statistics. So currently we do have 18 participations from institutions from Latin America and Caribbean in the current ITN scheme. So 18 so far. Just to a bit to explain that indeed mostly our participation from the regions are in the RISE action, which is for short-term exchanges. We mentioned the RISE action a bit earlier, but we see the RISE action as an entry point for collaborations among institutions, really at a bit of a short-term exchanges, just a bit to, let's say, to get to know each other type of action, really the entry ticket. But we would like to see in the future, and because we see excellent results in the RISE action, we would like to see the collaborations in the future doctoral networks with partners from Latin America and the Caribbean more and more. We see that there are excellent RISE projects, and we do believe that all these institutions can come together, join forces for a more structured and more specialized collaboration in the form of a doctoral program. And indeed, as I heard in the discussion, there are different ways to participate in this project. You can participate as a beneficiary, co-signing the grant agreement, and of course, which involves contribution to reporting, but also hosting a doctoral candidate for 36 months. This is the benefit of it, but also you could all these institutions could also participate indeed as partners for shorter secondments, let's say. I believe that the example of Vasco is the exact this is the example that Vasco gave indeed. So institutions could also host shorter exposure, and of course like this benefit from the attracting talent from abroad and from Europe. I believe that this is a very important because we are, I think the region is concerned about brain drain. This is something that we hear a lot. And I do believe that via participating in our projects, actually you could attract talent to your institutions. And this is very important for all participants, I believe. So yes, hopefully we'll see more and more collaborations in doctoral networks. And I thank you very much once again for showing us this great example of collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you, Boriana. We will continue supporting you, giving you the information you need to explore this possibility and support you as much as we can from Latin America. So do not hesitate to contact us. I would like to thank our two speakers, Boriana, also for your participation in this room. If you have questions, you can send them in writing. I'll share our email here. And thank you again. I hope we have more participation so we can invite other speakers than Gaston and Vasco that we invite all the time, because it's always good to hear from LAC researchers. And have a good afternoon, all. See you soon.